In this video, we will explore effective communication and the safety controls implemented to prevent incidents. Effective communication is critical among the control room, operating personnel, and those performing the work. Effective communication on the job site includes several key practices, such as pre-job planning, toolbox meetings, formal hazard assessments, safe job procedures, and site-specific hazard assessments. Each of these methods plays a crucial role in ensuring that all team members are informed, prepared, and aligned on safety protocols and work expectations, thereby reducing the risk of incidents and promoting a safer work environment. Communication is vital because it confirms mutual understanding, facilitates two-way dialogue, and eliminates assumptions, ensuring that everyone is on the same page before work begins. It also verifies that processes and procedures are correctly followed, ensures hazards and controls are identified and implemented, and highlights any training needs or gaps, all of which are crucial for maintaining a safe and efficient work environment. Effective communication on the job should cover several critical areas, including the work scope and plan, identified hazards, and the control measures in place. It's essential to establish clear communication protocols, such as hand signals or radio usage, and to review emergency response procedures. Additionally, the discussion should include reassessment processes, awareness of powered mobile equipment, soil conditions, and shoring techniques to ensure all safety aspects are thoroughly addressed. It's crucial to maintain constant communication with all personnel throughout the work. If an emergency alarm sounds, all excavation work should immediately cease, and gas checks must be repeated before resuming operations to ensure safety. To mitigate the risk of cave-ins and collapses, it is essential to implement appropriate protective measures, such as pre-excavation assessment, check soil type and stability, identify hazards, and choose appropriate protective systems. Implement protective systems. Use sloping, benching, or shoring to support excavation walls. Regular inspections. Check excavation sites for soil instability or other hazards. Monitor weather. Adjust work practices based on weather conditions to ensure safety. Train workers in excavation techniques, hazard recognition, and safe work practices. To minimize the risk of falls and ensure a safe work environment, the following control measures should be implemented. Fall protection. Install guardrails, safety nets, or fall arrest systems around excavation edges to prevent falls. Ladders. Ensure ladders extend at least 3 feet above the excavation edge, are secured, well-maintained, and regularly inspected. Safe exits. Provide ramps, stairs, or other exits, in addition to ladders for easy evacuation. Barriers. Use fencing or barricades to mark the excavation perimeter. Visibility. Apply bright or reflective tape around the edge to improve visibility. Signage. Post clear and visible signs indicating the excavation's location and hazards. Fall protection plan. Develop and communicate a site-specific plan detailing procedures, equipment, and training to prevent falls. Fall protection training. Train workers on hazard identification, equipment use, and safe work practices. To mitigate the risk of inhalation hazards, the following control measures should be implemented. Ventilation. Ensure proper ventilation to remove hazardous gases, fumes, or vapors from the excavation. Atmosphere testing. Regularly test the air for hazardous gases and take corrective actions if needed. Equipment use. Use and maintain the right equipment to reduce the risk of gas exposure. Safe work practices. Train workers on safe work practices to avoid gas exposure, like using exhaust systems and not smoking near the excavation. Monitoring. Continuously check the air in and around the excavation for hazardous gases. Personal protective equipment, PPE. Provide PPE, such as respirators or gas detectors, to protect workers from inhalation hazards. To mitigate the risk of oxygen deficiency, the following control measures should be implemented. Ventilation. Ensure good ventilation to keep oxygen levels safe in the excavation. Atmosphere testing. Regularly test the air to monitor oxygen levels and take corrective action if needed. Safe work practices. Train workers to avoid activities that could lower oxygen levels, like using flames or combustibles. Emergency plan. Develop and communicate a plan for dealing with low oxygen situations, including emergency oxygen and evacuation procedures. Personal protective equipment, PPE. Provide respirators to protect workers from low oxygen levels. To mitigate the risk of utility strikes, the following control measures should be implemented. Pre-excavation planning. Visually assess for overhead utilities and use click before you dig service for the underground ones. Protective equipment. Employ trench boxes or shields to protect utilities during excavation. Safe work practices. Train workers to avoid utility strikes, such as keeping heavy machinery away from utility areas. To mitigate the risk of vibration and noise hazards, the following control measures should be implemented. Use of equipment. Choose equipment that produces less vibration and noise when possible. Personal protective equipment, PPE. Provide earplugs or earmuffs to protect workers from hearing loss and other health issues. Safe work practices. Train workers to reduce exposure to vibration and noise by limiting time near machinery, keeping a safe distance, and taking breaks. Monitoring. Regularly check vibration and noise levels to identify hazards and take corrective actions. To mitigate the risk of water and flooding ingress, the following control measures should be implemented. Drainage. Ensure effective drainage to remove water from the excavation. Excavation techniques. Use methods like sloping, benching, or shoring to reduce water ingress and flooding risks. Emergency plan. Create and communicate a plan for handling water ingress and flooding, including evacuation and contacting emergency services. Safe work practices. Train workers to avoid working during heavy rainfall to prevent water ingress and flooding. To mitigate the risk of mobile equipment accidents, the following control measures should be implemented. Traffic control. Create a safe procedure for moving equipment around the site. Marking the excavation. Clearly mark the excavation perimeter for equipment operators. Equipment operation. Train operators to follow safe procedures, check blind spots, and use spotters. Safe work practices. Train workers to stay clear of equipment and maintain a safe distance from machinery. Monitoring. Regularly check equipment operations to spot hazards and take corrective action. To mitigate the risk of confined space hazards, the following control measures should be implemented. Pre-excavation assessment. Evaluate confined space risks and set up protective measures. Entry procedures. Create procedures for confined space entry, including atmosphere testing, PPE use, and having an attendant. Ventilation. Ensure proper ventilation to remove hazardous gases or fumes from confined spaces. Emergency plan. Develop and share a plan for responding to confined space incidents, including rescue and evacuation. To mitigate the risk of temperature extremes, the following control measures should be implemented. Safe work practices. Train workers to take regular breaks in shaded or temperature-controlled areas. Monitoring. Check workers' conditions and the environment to spot hazards and take corrective actions. Hydration. Ensure workers drink enough fluids in hot conditions and avoid very cold fluids in cold conditions. Emergency plan. Create and share a plan for handling extreme temperature incidents, including first aid and evacuation procedures. In conclusion, effective communication and strong safety controls are essential for preventing workplace incidents. Clear communication ensures mutual understanding and aligns teams on safety protocols. Implementing measures to address hazards like cave-ins, falls, and confined spaces, along with regular training and monitoring, enhances safety. By fostering a culture of safety and adherence to site-specific plans, organizations protect workers and maintain efficient operations. For more information, please see the description below.